We begin our meditation today. Let's center in the awareness of infinite being. As much as you can, open your consciousness to limitlessness. No boundaries in the mind. No limiting beliefs and concepts and labels. Just center in pure being. What is pure being? It's simply existence, consciousness, and bliss. Existence, consciousness, and bliss. Satchitananda. No boundaries, no limits. Breathe into that. And we begin today with the center of the chest, the center of loving being. It holds us lovingly in existence. We use the path of love in our meditation. Let it bring the mind into stillness. Just breathe into the chest area until you can feel that subtle energy of love arising in your heart through your intention to love as purely, as unconditionally, as non-judgmental as you can. Holding the awareness that all of existence is divine. That all is a play of consciousness and energy. Each time you breathe out, let your love flow into the universe around you. To every cell within your physical being and through the body. To all living things that you are connected to from the center of your consciousness. You're connected to the universe from the center of your being. Loving is natural to us as we open the consciousness, moving beyond borders and separateness. Loving is natural to pure being. Open the mind to love, so that the mind is drawn into loving being. And the rationale is that the divine is everywhere, within me and in everything. So in loving all, I'm loving myself, my divine self. That's the rationale that a reason should use in opening up its heart to the universe. Wounds that you may feel, limitations, only come from the ego and its limitation. What makes it easier as I'm guiding you is because we are co-creating a field, opening up our consciousness to all masters of the light, all forces of the light. Opening up our consciousness to the evolving light of the Dwapara Yuga. Aligning ourselves to the evolutionary trend of the yugas, which is at this point from darkness into light. You begin love from the very center of your being, from the subtle center of the heart. that loving energy, through the energy channels, begin to flow through your entire body from your heart. Mind directed, of course. Mind is continuously holding the intention of loving expansively. As much as you can hold that intention. Let's all hold that intention together. The field becomes stronger. In love I exist. O my higher self, you are infinite love. I align to you. And let that love flow to every cell, personalizing your bonding with these cells of the human body that you inhabit. Bone cells, skin cells, liver cells, brain cells, eye cells. And so just scan your body and go through. And everywhere there is some unease, you just relax the area, breathing prana into it, holding it in the mental field of your attentive being, and wrapping it in your loving being. I love you, my body. You're nature's gift to me, to my soul. I love you, my every cell. You're so precious to me in this lifetime. I hold you in my love. I nourish you with my intention to wrap you in my love and to lift you in the light. Stay healthy, my precious cells. Stay healthy. And you let that love flow. When you breathe through the gut, you enter the energy field, the core energy field of the body. Breathe into it, expanding the belly. Taking your attention right down to the sacral area and to the root. Opening the belly maximally to below the rib cage, filling the sides of the belly. And open up your consciousness to energy flows. Look for the connection, if you can, with that little knot at the center of the eyebrows, the energy knot that we call the Manas chakra, that connects you to the senses, physical senses, and to the elements. And breathe with that connection from that Manas point to the navel center, to the sacral center. The sacral center is a center of nourishment that you can tap into when the Manas power grows. And breathe to the root. For those of you who don't feel anything, don't worry about it. You are in the field of the energy. And you are in the blessing of the co-creative intention to be nourished by the pranas. And those of you who can feel the guidance of the energy, the evolutionary energy within you that we call Kundalini, co-create with her. Let her guide you. Follow her. She will take you to every area of unease and bring healing to you. She'll show you how to breathe, how to love. And if perchance some darkness comes up, it is to be expelled by her. She is making you aware of them. If pain appears, she wants to expel them through healing. Om Guru Om. Guru is the power of light within you to drive away the darkness of ignorance. Guru. Om is the primordial sound, the original vibration that evolves into all other sounds. Om Guru 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 Om. I repeat it because it appears in my mind. I breathe in Om Guru with the breath, in breath, and breathe out Om Guru. I listen to the sound as it vibrates in my mental field, letting every cell be nourished by the light that removes darkness. If your physical breath or gross breath is lessened, but you still feel the breathing action is moving, and there's less gross breath, it's perfect. You're being nourished by the internal pranas of Kundalini from the root. Coming up, so you have less need for the prana of the gross breath. But ensure that you keep awareness of the body so you meet its oxygen needs by being aware of the physical body and its needs for oxygen. Let love pervade your consciousness. Love for the body, love for the energy that moves through you, love for the evolutionary power that blesses you, love for the masters of the light whose energies support you, and gratitude for the nourishment you're receiving, for the strength you're building, for the wisdom that you are intuiting, and for the security that you are feeling. Now stay with me in the silence as we practice all the things that I've mentioned in the silence. Now slowly expand your consciousness to your physical world around you. Your body is part of that world, your physical body. And your energy body is having an experience of that world through the physical body. This you must know. Now that we have entered inside, we are in the subtle body awareness. That's a mental awareness, emotional awareness, and the awareness of energy throughout the body, the pranas. That's your soul body, your immortal body. And it's having an experience of the physical body that it is inhabiting. You can feel the warmth of the body. You can feel the weight of the body held by gravity. You can feel the presence of its gross nature, the organs within you, the bones, circulation of fluids in the body. You can feel it. You can feel nerve currents bringing feeling in the body, physical feeling. Lovingly open your consciousness to the universe around you by being aware of your body's connection to it. At the root energy center, we connect with the earth element and the sense of smell. So if you just go to your root and breathe more of the gross breath, the air, with a gentle pull, if you can, with the perineum area, to give you the sense of location, but more with energy, with intention. And open up to the connection of the earth element and to smell. But you need to open up to the gross breath. Just push the air out of the lungs and you will have the capacity to pull air into the lungs. And then the sense of smell will be heightened. And you do the same with the sacral area. It's connected to taste and to the water element. Water in the body, water in the environment. Heighten your consciousness of taste. And the water element. The moisture in the atmosphere. Saliva in the mouth. And you're doing all of this with the manas connection. The mind centered in the material world. Then go to the navel. It is connected to fire and the sense of seeing the light and the forms in the light. With your eyes closed, begin to sense the light around you. And breathe into the belly area. Opening up to the gross breath and to the nourishment of the sense organ, the eye. And the blessing of light, the sun, the fire in every cell. And the fiery experience of the sun around you. Through light and heat. Breathe into the chest area as you focus on the lungs. Opening up. And you focus on skin and touch. Sense of touch is heightened. Touch awareness. And then breathe into the throat. It connects you with hearing and space. When you do this, you come back into the body in a beautiful way, appreciating nature around you. Om Guru Om. I stay in gratitude to the light that brings higher awareness. Gu, Ru. Ru is the light, stands for the light, and Gu stands for darkness. Om Guru Om. And in this beautiful field of being, let us show gratitude to the forces of the light that support us. Om Sahana Bhavatu. May we be protected together in that light. Sahana Bhunaktu. May we be nourished in that light. Sahaviryam Karavavahe. May we be strengthened from that nourishment of the light. Tejas Vinavadhitamastu. May the light of the divine, through intuition, light up my being with wisdom. May knowledge be full of light. Ma Vidvishavahe. And may we all be united with the light, moving beyond all limitations. Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti, peace. Shanti, peace. Shanti, peace. Namaskar, everyone. I hope that you've been nourished by the meditation. That's the intention. That your body at least feels better. Body is nourished by your attention to it and by your intention of holding it in the field of nourishment that comes from your intention. And from the pranas that you breathe and the oxygen that you breathe. Body is precious. Every cell is precious. And I like to personalize my body. I love you, my every cell. You're so precious to me. You can't imagine what just your loving the cells do to it. And what appreciation does to it. When you appreciate someone, or when someone appreciates you, how do you feel? And even though your cells may have crude intelligence, they respond to your love. And more than that, when you hold these cells, body cells, in the intention of that cell staying healthy, sustaining well-being, and visualizing the cell being well in your mental field, you are influencing that cell big time. That even if the cell is struggling, let's say cancer or any other irregularity in the cell, your force, your mental power to influence that cell will cause the cell to change. It's a dynamic mental power you have, that when you hold something in your field, what you are visualizing can influence it. And of course, you speak about the power of belief, but this is the science behind belief. Visualizing and holding an intention of what you want the cells to become. In a simple way, we say, believe that your cell is becoming more healthy. The science behind it is visualize yourself being more healthy and hold the intention strong within you that it is becoming healthy. That's how you nourish it from the quantum space. So when you can really feel that your intention has power, your attention has power, then you don't need to believe. You need to use the science to influence it. In a more evolved consciousness, you don't need to believe anything. You need to explore. You need to practice. You need to experiment. See how much our world has grown through experimentation, exploration, curiosity, investigation. Our world has grown significantly. But of course, the forces of the light are offering more grace in this space because the yuga is an ascending yuga. But this is a preamble to what I want to say to you. It's really based on the meditation. But what I really want to say to you today, in my telling you as it really is that there is no devil in the universe that is continuously fighting with God. These mythical characters are creations of our minds. But there is polarity in the universe. If there is light, there's going to be darkness. You cannot exist in, your body cannot exist in the light continuously. It needs to go into the darkness of rest. Cells need rest. Our minds need rest. Our being, our conscious beings need rest. The universe needs to rest. And if you have studied a little bit of physics, you will know that electricity cannot happen unless you have polarity. Unless you have an abundance of electrons at one point, and you have less electrons at the other point, and then naturally, there's a current of electrons that flows to bring balance. So the universe is always seeking to balance in the polarity. You have a crown chakra that is the place of all power and possibility, and then you have a root chakra on the opposite that is totally connected to the world and to limitation. And you have currents moving up and down. Well, actually, the polar point is at the brow, because this is the power of intentionality of the mind. So the current moves from the brow to the root, up and down. You have male and female in the universe. How are you going to have reproduction? Of course, you can have it in a way, but it requires duality. Even if it's not based on male-female gender, it's based on an internal reproduction, like how cells would also move from one cell to two. They will divide and they will multiply by dividing. But they form duality. And then, positive and negative in the universe allows energy to move. If water moves by the gravity of a high gravitational potential of the water to a low one, and then you have the water flow naturally happening. So all the forces of darkness are really being generated by your universe in low consciousness. The universe limits itself into lower consciousness and creating ignorance, and that's the root of all the negativity. But you're not going to be held in darkness forever. The goal is to be evolved in the light, or to evolve in the light. So anytime you hold something in limitation or suppression, then there's a force inside it it's like a spring that is wound up. It has potential energy that is stored there, that wants to turn into kinetic energy, the energy of movement. So darkness must lead to light, and then because of the principle of duality, then light limits itself into darkness. And like I said, the universe needs to rest at some point. So when it's so full of activity, it needs to rest. So rest and activity becomes the two polar points. But us experiencing what we call evil is simply because the mind is held in ignorance. So long as you open the mind to see the play of the universe, to see that light and darkness is a play of energy in the field. The moment you begin to see that light and darkness, then you don't identify with either, that you become caught. Of course, you enjoy the light, you go towards the light, but you don't become so caught in the light that you deny darkness. We call it self-righteous. So the highest consciousness is an acceptance of both light and darkness as the play of the universe. How can we appreciate that in a personal way? It's in the understanding that there is no other in the universe but myself. When the Christ said, love your neighbor as yourself, that is coming from a transcendental awareness that in your neighbor is your own consciousness source. And what is manifesting in your neighbor towards you is only a play of energy. If you bring out the worst in your neighbor, then you're going to be experiencing the worst coming towards you. If you bring out the best in your neighbor, then you're likely to experience a higher level of bonding. And if your neighbor is continuously negative, should you identify with that negativity and react to it? Or should you hold that negativity in the light? Quarantine it in the space because you are with it. You don't want to throw out your neighbor. You want to accept your neighbor. We are told, love thy neighbor as thyself. So you quarantine the neighbor in a healing energy. You pray for the neighbor, so to speak. You pray for the uplift of the neighbor. And when you quarantine means that your being is not affected by it. Quarantine means your being is not affected by it. And how do you build that power of quarantining? That's what you just did this morning in the meditation. And that's what I'm doing with you now in this conversation. I say conversation because your energy speaks to me. Your collective energy speaks to me. Your individual energy speaks to me. You quarantine by holding yourself continuously in higher awareness of what exists. The more you open your consciousness to seeing or perceiving from the depth of your being, you'll realize that everybody is a source of love. Everybody is a source of wisdom. All we need to do is tap into it. All we need to do is stimulate it in others. And most importantly, connecting with the divine. through the power of grace. This is a subject that I want to speak about again. When you feel overwhelmed by the forces of darkness that surround you, and that's evident now in the world around us, when you feel totally overwhelmed, as we sometimes do, what can pull you out of that? Because it's regal. The energy around us can be really challenging. With all the noble intentions you have. You need to surrender. What does surrender mean? Just accepting. Surrender means aligning to the divine within you that is the source of all wisdom, all love, all peace. If you begin to surrender to that power, oh my God, all of this is challenging. My body can't handle this, my mind can't handle this, my emotional being can't handle this. This is too stressful. Lord, I'm personalizing the universe now. Lord, this is too much for me. First of all, I surrender to your play. Because it exists, it's your play. I surrender to it. Lord, I'm surrendering to it. You have to help me in this play. You put me in this play, you have to take me out of this play. So I'm appealing now to the forces of the light. Take me out of this play. Here's what I'm saying. Show me. Show me how to come out of it. Grant me wisdom. Your light exists. Your intuitive power exists within me. All I'm asking, dear Lord, open my mind that I can understand this play. I simply want to understand it, and I want to know how to tap into your energy. Not my limited one, but yours. Please, Lord, awaken my mind to the truth. All I'm seeking is the truth. Awaken my mind so that I can see this play for what it is, not be fearful of it. But I want the wisdom to meet every challenge in this play. I bow to you. I simply want to be aligned. Teach me how to do it. That I can do it. We call that co-creating with the universe. Lord, I want to work with you. Teach me, guide me, protect me, nourish me. Most of all, open my mind to understand the play. The moment you do that, the book comes, the dream comes, the master comes. You may be transported from your environment to a better one. Or support will come into the environment if you can't shift. There is no time when you knock on the doors of the universe in surrender and alignment and prayer that a door is not open. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened. I have applied this in the darkness of my ignorance. And it always worked. To this day, it has never failed me, even once. Do I believe in it? Yes, I live it. I experience it. My world is so gracious. It comes to my support everywhere. My darkest days were in 1974. I was 20 years old. My darkest year. Amidst all of that, I had faith that there is a power in the universe. I just need to know it. And when I decided to go to India seeking masters, one little prayer I had in my mind: guide me as I enter this airplane. And let me recognize that you are sending all the right people to me continuously in this journey. So said, so happened. In those days I had little cash. I came back to Trinidad with cash. I traveled to India simply on grace. People everywhere supported me in the darkness of my ignorance. And the most beautiful thing, just a couple of weeks in India, I ended up in the ashram of Baba Muktananda. Energetically, I have never left Ganesh Puri. The ashram lives inside of me. The Guru lives inside of me. And that was a light. That made a connection to a light that grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. The power of grace. Do I see evil in the universe? No, I see just my Lord. Here I'm personalizing the universe. I just see my beautiful Lord, challenging me sometimes. When the body got ill in my trip to India in 2015, I learned so much about my body, so much about my body, that's going to help me throughout. Well, it has helped me already, and it's going to continue to help me throughout the years that this body lives. I'm thankful and grateful for what seemed to have been a very deadly challenge. Legionella. Dangerous bacteria. My body sustained it. Instead of all of my lungs going away, a little part of one lung had to be cleansed. Grace. The challenge came about the 25th of June in 2015. And my surgery when I came in Trinidad was in July. Some weeks after. The body sustained that. All through that time, in mid-July. Grace, but what I've learned about my body inside, things that I thought I had, I didn't have at all. Issues that I thought I had, and I learned much more about my body, and I'm grateful for that. The universe protected me, took care of me, nourished me through all these helping hands. Do I have trust in the universe? Absolute. Do I fear death? There is no death. The universe dictated when I came on the earth, and it will dictate when I leave the earth. When I leave, there is no death to me. It will dictate how long the body stays on the earth. I have full faith in that. Just as it protected me in India, 20 years old, just as it protected me in 2015 from a deadly challenge, it continues to sustain me every day. Do I have faith? Of course I have faith. I live in total surrender. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. As the Christ says, I live in total surrender. Do I do anything? Just like the Christ. I do at the will of the Father. I do at the will of the universe. Do I see evil anywhere? No, only light. Do I quarantine the negative? I do. I don't push it away from me, the universe sends it to me. I quarantine it in the light until it becomes transformed. Let's learn to continuously live in the light. Let's maintain that one prayer. Lord, help me to understand. I surrender to you that I may be aligned to you, to your light. Help me to understand. I don't want to live in ignorance for just one moment. That's how I felt at 20 years old. I can't manage this ignorance. My mind is too limited. That led me to grace. My life has been a life of abundant grace, amazing grace, as the song says, the hymn says. Can you live in that? Yes, absolutely you can. Can you meet the challenges of the world? Yes, you can. There is an energy beyond light and darkness that sustains both and sustains you. So this is my Sunday talk to you, telling it as it is, my dear friends. I've told it as it is. There's nothing but your beautiful self in the whole universe. The God within you dwells in all things. The God within you is beyond light and darkness. It creates a play of light and darkness. Of course, darkness gives us the beauty and the joy of existence. The light. The light gives us the beauty and joy. The darkness gives us the contrast and the challenge to stay in the light. Quarantine darkness whenever it comes. Enjoying its play. Happy Sunday, everyone. Amidst all the challenges, amidst all the perceived darkness, may you be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. May all be happy. May all be healthy, whole intention of healing. Sarve santu niramayaha. May you always see the beauty of the universe. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. And may no one be caught in the consciousness of sorrow. Ma kaschid dukhabhag bhaved. May no one be caught in the consciousness of sorrow, the energy of sorrow. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May that peace stay with you. Have a blessed day, everyone. My soul bows to you. Namaskar.